Greetings everyone. The topic for today is adverb phrases. An adverb phrase consists of one or more words. The adverb is the head of the phrase and can appear alone or it can be modified by other words. Adverbs are one of the four major word classes along with the nouns, verbs or adjectives. For example, we usually go on holiday in August. Over here, the highlighted word usually is an adverb. The day passed quickly enough. Over here, quickly enough is an adverb phrase. Luckily for us, the cost was not so high. So, luckily for us is an adverb phrase over here. As we have discussed in the previous lesson, that adverb modifies a verb, adjective, or another adverb in a sentence. And beside it, we also have discussed that an adverb tells you or answers you question related to how, where, when, and why. There are a few examples type which gives you further information about the adverb phrases. When we are discussing about such examples, for example, we walked very carefully across the floor. We know that the type of adverb is the adverb of manner and used to give information about how something happens. So in the next example, you can see, here is where I was born. That's it, right there. So right there is an adverb which indicates a place. So it gives information where something happens. In the third example, you can see Dad got home very late. So very late over here is an adverb phrase and it is indicating about the time. An adverb of time tells you when something happens. In the next example, you can see this pill will take away the pain temporarily. Over here, temporarily tells you about the duration. So how long something happens, it indicates that thing. In the last example, as you can see, they almost never invite people to their house these days. Over here, almost is an adverb of frequency and almost never is an adverb phrase, and the frequency tells you how often something happens. The dog behaves incredibly stupidly. Over here, incredibly tells is an adverb of degree, which tells you how much or what degree something happens. To what degree something happens always is an indication of the adverb of degree, which tells you the extent as well. In the next example, you can see the train will probably be late. It does not necessarily mean that. So over here, probably and necessarily are certainty or necessity, and it tells you how certain or necessary something is. Unfortunately for me, I can't speak Italian. So this adverb over here in this example is adverb of evaluation and the speaker's opinion of something. Evaluation means the speaker's opinion of something. So this is an opinion basically. Personally, I don't see why the party has to start so early. So this is the point of view, or you can say viewpoint, where you can say that the speaker's perspectives or reactions is indicated. In the last example over here, you can see in the slide, it rained very heavily this summer. Therefore, many of the vegetables were very small. So it's therefore is it's specifying over here in the sentence, or it function as a linking adverb. So that's why we call it as linking adverb, and it shows the relationships between clauses and the sentences. So we have different types of adverbs as we have mentioned it in the second column. There's adverb of degree, certainty, evaluation, or point of view, or linking adverb. Examples of adverbial phrases referring to time. So in these adverbial phrases, you will see that all these examples will refer to the time when something happens. Adverbial phrases referring to time answer the questions when. My mom was angry with me for getting home really late. So really late is an adverb of time. Around noon is again adverb of time because it has been highlighted. Around noon we all had completed the tasks for the day. In the next examples, you can see my aunt told me that she will be coming to India in the month of September. In the month of September is again denoting the time, so it is referring to time, which is adverbial phrase of time. Until last year, Devi struggled to adapt to the city and its culture. So until last year is again adverb of time. Everyone started losing their interest towards the end of the show. So towards the end of the show is again that verb of time. Examples of adverbial phrases referring to place. So first we have discussed about time. Now we will be discussing about the adverb of place. Adverbial phrases that refer to the position or place in which the action is taking place answer the questions where. In time, they'll answer you the question when, but in place, they will answer you about the question where. Adverbial phrases of this type also include prepositional phrases, which function like an adverb. In the example, you can see there is a new supermarket right in front of my house. So right in front of my house is the adverbial phrase which is referring to the place. My father asked us to remember that he had parked the car right next to the overbridge. So right next to the overbridge is again the adverbial phrase of referring to the place. We walked over the bridge. Over the bridge is adverb of place. Children play in the park. In the park is again denoting the adverbial phrase referring to place. Adults and teenagers are seen walking on the pavements. On the pavement is again denoting towards the place. Examples of adverbial phrase referring to the manner in which an action is taking place. So manner is answering you the question about how something happens. Adverbial phrases that represent the manner in which an action is being carried out by the subject can be identified by asking the question how. Anand waited silently and patiently. So silently and patiently is answering you the question how. How Anand waited. He waited silently and patiently. Luckily for my sister, she always got her way. So luckily for my sister is adverbial phrase which is referring to the manner. Everything went on surprisingly well. Over here, surprisingly well is an adverb which is denoting to the manner. The teacher asked the students to fill in the evaluation forms very carefully. Again, very carefully over here is adverb of manner. We were able to finish it quite easily. How? Quite easily. Because it's adverb of manner. Examples of adverbial phrases referring to the frequency of an action, like how often something happens. So adverbial phrases that refer to the frequency of an action can be identified by asking the question how often. Almost every year we take a trip to the north. How often? Almost every year. So Nora and her family visit her grandparents very often. How often? Very often. Manasa bakes a new set of cookies every week. How often? Every week. Only really do we get an opportunity to take a break and go somewhere. How often? Only rarely. So this is referring to the frequency of an action. Every alternate weekend, my friends and I get together for dinner. So every alternate weekend is again referring to the frequency of an action, which is adverbial phrase of frequency. Now moving towards examples of adverbial phrase referring to the reason behind an action taking place. So reasons give you the answer for question why something happens. Some adverbial phrases refer to the reasons why a particular action is taking place. This type of adverbial phrase can be identified by asking the question why. Due to the sudden rains, we had to cancel our plans. Why? Due to sudden rains. All schools will be closed for a week owing to the heavy snowstorm. So the highlighted words in this sentence are all the adverbial phrase which is denoting the reason of an action. To keep up with the developments in the field of technology. Why? To keep up with the developments of the in the field of technology, my brother read every single blog on the technological advancements around the world. So over here, you can see that the highlighted words is referring to the reason behind an action. What makes an adverbial phrase different from an adverbial clause? So these are the differences As you can see that an adverbial phrase is just a part of a sentence that is employed to provide more information about the action done by the subject, an adjective, another adverb, or even another phrase. And an adverbial clause, you can see that adverbial clause is a group of words that gives some extra information about another clause and also aids in the completion of the idea or thought being communicated. There are the examples which has been shown and you can read it one by one. In the spring season, traveling can be a pleasant and satisfying activity. So over here, you can see another example for adverbial clause. As soon as I reach the spot, I will give you a call. So these are all the differences of between adverbial phrase and adverbial clause. The main difference is that in phrase, either we have a subject and a verb, but in clause, we have a subject and verb both. So a list of words to help you form adverbial phrases. So here are some of the words in bold that will help you form and identify the adverbial phrases easily. You can check them one by one in how, when, where, why, how often. As we have discussed that adverb answers you the question related to 4 different categories and all the examples are jotted down below each category. How, in anger, like a snail. Sincerely happy. When? Before sunrise, exactly in 3 hours. Where? Right next to her. Or where? At every signal. Why? To console her. For much needed break. How often? It can be every month, rarely, annually, or anything. Now let us look at how adverbial phrase can be formed and adverbial phrase can be formed using the following combinations. So this slide is very important because it is telling you about the formation of the adverbial phrase. So a preposition with an article and a noun can make an adverb phrase. A preposition with a combination of a pronoun and a noun can make an adverbial phrase. An adjective and an adverb can make an adverbial phrase. An adverb, a preposition and a noun and a pronoun can make it, or a preposition, an article, an adjective, and a noun can make it. Multiple adverbs and an adjective combination can make adverb phrase. Multiple adverbs, one adverb describing another can also make an adverb phrase. So difference between adverb and adverbial. So this is the major difference between adverb and adverbial shown in this slide for all of you. Part of speech that modifies a verb, adjective, or another adverb. This is the function. So he is incredibly smart. Incredibly is an adverb. Adverbial, phrase that modifies a verb, adjective, or adverb. You can see in the example, during the week I walked to the village. So during the week is adverbial over here. So adverbial, if we remove it, it doesn't make any difference on the sentence. As you can see, put the dog food. Right here, if you remove it, it doesn't make any difference to the sentence. But over here, James never returned home. If you remove it, obviously it has some effect on the sentence. So I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. Don't forget to subscribe this YouTube channel for more updates on grammar topics. Thank you.